Welcome back to the Road to a Million podcast. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Jeremy, owner of Status Auto Detailing, who is a detailer here in Springfield, and we're actually buying out his book of business. When we first started detailing in 2019, Jeremy was the premier detailing shop. He did ceramic coatings, paint protection film, you name it. And fast forward 6 years, we are now buying out his business. Jeremy is moving on to be an EMT, and he approached us asking if we would be wanting to purchase out his customer base and a few other assets he had. So we worked out a deal, and Jeremy's going to be coming on to train us to do PPF, and one of his employees is actually going to start working for us as well. So I thought this would be an interesting thing to share with you guys. Jeremy is a detailer, just like all of us are. He's been doing this a lot longer than I have. He has a lot of experience working on a lot of cool cars. He built up an incredible business and has learned a lot along the way. So today he's going to be sharing his story and a little bit into how he thinks and has run his business. Hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget you can use the timestamps in the description to skip ahead. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
Are we rolling?
But
Yeah. Oh shoot! I better get rid of this. No, you want another one?
well, maybe give my hands something to do. What do I do with my hands? What's that from? What is that movie? I don't know what to do with my hands. I think it's Anchorman.
No.
I think it's Will Ferrell.
Gosh.
He's like, "Arr!" It is. It's freaking Anchorman.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and start.
Too bad we didn't have some beers, dude. That'd be even better.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and introduce us, and then we can just get into some questions. Does that work?
Let's do it.
Well, for those of you that don't know, I'm Josh Belk. Austin's behind the camera. I don't know why Austin didn't want to get on camera, but he said he's going to be in the camera later. But yeah, this is Jeremy. Jeremy, I guess do a quick introduction of who you are. And
Yep. I'm Jeremy Hargett. I own a business in Springfield called Status Auto Detailing. Been around since, I'd have to look, it's 2010 or 2011, so a while. We do detailing, paint protection film, window tint, ceramic coatings, all that stuff. So
when you started, was it just you? Did you just decide I'm going to start this, or did you have like a partner? Or...
Nope, just me working out of my garage.
Really?
So, yep, I had a little shop at my house and started there. I just really hated my current job at the time, and so
What were you doing?
needed something to do. I was leasing apartments. I wouldn't suggest it. Didn't love it, so it really pushed me to try to find something that I could go out and do on my own that I liked, and yeah.
So when did it become a full-time thing? When did you start doing it full-time?
I pretty much jumped in pretty much full time. I struggled the first year. I knew enough people with cars and stuff that I kind of kept myself going, and I was like really gung-ho. I was young and I was kind of dumb, and I was like going to all the dealerships, and I was just going out and meeting people at businesses. I was going door to door at one point, just introducing myself, giving people business cards. But you know, the first year or so, I had a couple little part-time jobs here and there to sustain me because they would get slow in the winter and stuff. But really, like by my second or third year in business, I was 100% full-time. And I was on my own for probably, I don't know, somewhere between 3 and 4 years, maybe 5 at the most. And then I hired a guy full-time, and they grew pretty fast after that. Employees are definitely the way to go.
What was the competition like back in 2016 and 2018?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, that's something I researched a lot, and I realized that's when I got into the business. There was no competition. There was one shop that was well established back in the day. It was called Distinct Detail, and they were pretty good, but it was just one shop for this entire city. And then we have like a shop called Ming, which is kind of like your what's the word? Like production express type detailing. I still send people there occasionally that just need quick, cheap work, you know. I don't have any problem with that, but that was the only thing. And then there was like one mobile detailer that went out of business like that year. So there was just no competition. So it was just like right for the picking, and it was the perfect time. It was kind of post the recession that hit in 2000 or 2008. The economy was just starting to get a little bit better, and I hit the market right at the right time, and it blew up pretty quick. So
obviously, like, you specialize in PPF and coatings, but when did you get started in PPF and coatings? Because you just did detail in the beginning?
yeah, only detailing. Yeah, I was doing really basic detailing at first. And I was doing a lot of just like trashy detailer work. I mean, everybody kind of does that when they get started. I was knocking out like 3 dealer cars a day for like 100 or 150 bucks. And I felt like I was getting rich, but I was like killing myself, you know, and not getting rich.
Nasty cars?
Yeah, bad stuff. Like just flying over the cars as fast as I humanly could with a rotary polisher and wool pad, just slinging compound on it and just flying around, leaving swirls. And these guys were thrilled. They were happy, you know, with that level of work. So, you know, I learned all the mistakes and all the bad things. And I've made all the mistakes on like some really crappy cars. So that by the time I was starting to work on better cars and starting to research, you know, I'm from back in the day where we were still on forums and stuff. And I was telling Austin earlier, like you know, Mike Phillips was kind of like the guy to go to back in the day on the McGuire's forums. And
Did he work for McGuire's?
Huh?
Did he work?
Yeah, he did originally. Yeah, yeah. And there, you can still go back and look at his posts, like way back. And then Auto Geek, and man, he kind of like revolutionized the industry. And
That was the YouTube back in the day.
it was,
With
yeah.
forums?
Yeah, forums, man. I learned everything. 90% of what I know is from forums. Just sitting there, just scrolling through, you know.
That's probably a lot better for your brain. Like, you actually probably get a little bit of like mental stimulation.
Yeah,
Like, that's like productive and good for you
yeah,
from reading forums instead of YouTube, which is
for sure. Yeah,
probably a lot more just brain
I
rot.
would read something, a post that Mike made or something. I would buy the stuff and go try it in my garage or try it on some crappy dealer car, you know. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But you know, I learned a lot like that. And I did eventually I went and got training and stuff too. And I kind of unlearned a lot of the bad stuff that I learned too.
Yeah.
But that kind of came later.
Yeah. So, when PPF came out and coatings kind of became more popular, did that immediately grab your attention?
Yeah.
Why is it that you got?
I think I was in pretty early on the coatings. I remember reading about some things online. Like, there's a huge debate if you go back and read about like what the first coating was in the United States. There's some weird brands that just like fizzled out and never really became a thing. But the 2 big ones were OptiCoat Pro and Seacords had some coatings. A guy named Corey Carruth was importing some coatings. And I may get some of the history wrong, but OptiCoat and Seacords were like the thing. And I didn't really know a lot about Seacords, but I figured I heard a lot of good things about OptiCoat. So actually, originally, I was an OptiCoat Pro installer. And that was the first coatings that I used. And I remember the first car that I coated, it was a C5 Corvette, and it was black. And then I did a paint correction on it with a Porter Cable DA sander, which was like the thing. Like, that was the thing that people started using that was supposedly better than rotary, you know? And I corrected it with that, and I put OptiCoat Pro on it. And I remember I asked the guy for $400, and I remember thinking, there's no way that anybody is going to pay $400 for something like this. This is insane money, you know, like $400. Oh my God. But he paid it. He was super happy. And then I started doing a lot. Coatings got popular really fast. I mean, I was OptiCoat for a while. There was some drama in that company. You can go back and read about the history. Corey from Sky's the Limit Car Care reached out to me, and I became a Seacords installer, and I started doing a lot of those.
Why'd you get into PPF?
PPF is just, I honestly feel like if you're a detail shop now, especially, but as I was like, I think I got into PPF in 16 or 17. You just had to. It's this thing that there's becoming more and more demand for it. And when it comes to like true protection, when people call and they say, I want protection from rock chips, true protection from scratches, I currently believe, like, I really believe that currently the best thing is paint protection film. And like, that's when I started transitioning into becoming predominantly a PPF shop and doing some coatings. I really started pushing PPF. Like my sales was when somebody called, I said, hey, if you've got a new car, you have to think about PPF right now because this is the only time you really should be doing it. And then if you want a coating on, you know, if we don't wrap the whole thing, coat the rest of it, you know. That's just the absolute best option on a brand new car is paint protection film. I truly believe that, you know. It's not that ceramic coatings don't have a place, but
Yeah. So when was that you got into doing like PPF?
I think it was 17 when I officially brought it in. I think we were experimenting a little bit. We were kind of trying out some films. I didn't have a plotter yet, but in 17 I bit the bullet. I bought a Graphtec plotter. We really started experimenting a lot. We were like taking some easier cars and we were wrapping some of our own cars and we were doing different things. And then over 2017 and 2018, we started becoming predominantly a PPF shop. You know, it's like I was a detail shop and then I was kind of like a ceramic coating shop, but then I was a PPF shop that did ceramic coatings and a tiny bit of detailing, you know. That was just my focus, but
Yeah. Well, and then you had a few different shops through over the years.
yeah, I've been all over the place.
Yeah. Because I mean, I remember when we got into it, you were like the guy at a company that we like really looked up to. And I don't remember what year we first met, but I remember sending some people. I think Austin and I both had a few customers that would call and they were like, I want it to be perfect. And we're like,
Yeah,
well, we can't do that. We're like, you have to call Jeremy.
yeah. The secret is I can't make them perfect either, but I try to get them pretty close. I'm trying to remember when we met. Was it before COVID? It was like
No, it was after.
it was after.
Because we started our business in November of 2019. So
yeah,
COVID happened like pretty much right after we started.
yeah.
And we were mobile. So it was like great for the mobile detailing because everyone was home. And
That'd be cool.
I mean, I remember there was a little period of time right when COVID happened that like I remember getting messages and everyone was like, well, I just got laid off, but like I'll let you know as soon as I get a job back. Like a detail.
Yeah,
That was like
was a
about a
weird
month,
time.
you know. But then it you know, everything kind of returned to, you know, somewhat normal. Everyone started working again pretty quickly, and
yeah.
so then business really picked up from there. But
Yeah, COVID was weird. I had a really big shop when COVID hit. It was 9 or 10,000 square feet. And then we were wanting to renovate that shop, but I decided that was before we really knew what COVID was, you know. We didn't know. We thought the world was going to end or something. I decided to downsize back to the shop that I was in.
over there on Hillcrest.
Yeah, on Hillcrest. Yeah, I think that was a safe move. In hindsight, I probably could have just kept going, but we just didn't know. You know, I was like, dude, I'm not renovating this 10,000 square foot shop in the middle of a pandemic. You know? But we just didn't know. I probably could have in hindsight, but man, that would have been risky. But yeah, we just went back to our old shop and continued as normal over there.
Well, that brings us forward to today, which I mean, I don't know how much you have and haven't explained to your customer base as far as like what's next.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe just talk about where your head's at as far as what's next.
Yeah. So I am stepping out of the industry as an owner of a business. There's a lot of different reasons why I've decided to kind of transition out, and I have been actually transitioning out for a few years. I started dabbling in the EMS field as an EMT in 22. And I kind of wanted to see if I liked it or not, because a lot of people get into that field and they hate it and they see bad things and they get out. And I wanted to see if that's something I liked, and I found that I really loved it. And so then I was really torn. It's like, well, crap, I have this other thing that I really love now too. but I like the business and I like detailing, and what do? I'm torn, you know? So I ended up, long story short, I ended up going to school for paramedic, which I'm getting ready to finish that. I've just bit the bullet one day and decided like I'm gonna go full time paramedic. I love it. I'm just gonna admit that like it's kind of like my new love, and that's what I really want to do. It's my passion, and I feel like it's somewhat of a calling even. So I want to do that, and but I wanted to also find a solution for my current clients, and how do I take what I have? I mean, I could just shut it down, and then where do all those clients go for PPF? There's a lot of bad options, you know. There really are. There's some guys doing decent work, but there's some bad options. So I started thinking about like who would want to take this over, who would be, best fit to serve my clients, who are the guys that are going to do a good job and an honest job, who has good business ethics. I kind of started looking around. I've been following you guys for a while, and I've even used you guys like you were talking about. You guys have been in my shop before. You've helped me out before, and so I know your work. I've been following you guys for a long time. You guys put out good information. You're honest. You guys kind of remind me of me like 8-10 years ago. You guys are super gung-ho. I think you're good business owners. I think you're good at what you do. And so that's why I reached out to you guys, because I think you would be a good fit. And you guys are kind of primed right now because you do detailing, you do tint, you do ceramic coating. The obvious, I think the most natural progression would be to do paint protection film, because now it's to do this complete thing. Yeah. And the problem with paint protection film, it's very like skill intensive, and it's difficult, and it's expensive to get into, and it's hard to just jump in and be like, I'm a paint protection film installer now. So that's kind of like we've been talking, how do we make this work where I can start sending my clients to you guys, but they know that they're going to be getting a good job, because if I just said, here's my clients, guys, and here's some equipment, good luck, like obviously that's going to be pretty rough. But I think we've come out with a good solution where I'm going to be actively involved with you guys. There's going to be some pretty intensive training up front, and then over the next few months, maybe even year, I'm going to be pretty actively involved. Training and consulting. I'll be available on the phone. I'll be over here actively working with you guys and helping, and I think it'll be a good transition.
And Zach will be here too, which I'm looking for.
Yeah, Zach is my head guy right now. He's been with me for about a year. He's been a window tinter. I hope he doesn't hate me. I may get these numbers wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's been a window tinter for 9 or 10 years now. So he's a pretty good window tinter, obviously. And he's put himself through PPF school. He went and did some training. And he was doing some PPF before I hired him, and he's been with me for a year. So he's gonna be a good asset to you guys. He'll be a really good guy, real nice guy.
Thanks for saying all that, man. It means a lot, and we're truly honored that you would even consider us. With trusting your clientele. We don't take, Austin and I don't take it lightly. So we obviously, like when you approached us about it, we obviously were like, man, that's a lot of responsibility, and like, yeah, we do ceramic coatings, and I think we do a pretty good job with ceramic coatings. So like, I think that when it comes to ceramic coatings, everyone that has done business with you in the past, and detailing too, like I know that there are some people that reach out and have had detailing done with you. Like, I think that we can take care of them.
Oh yeah,
I
think you guys are already at the level you need to be. I would feel comfortable right now if a customer called me and said, hey, I want to get my car coated, and I told them like, hey, I'm shutting down, but these guys, like, I'm 100% confident in your work there. Absolutely. Like, without any training, you guys are ready to go.
Yeah. What do you think like separates like someone that's doing ceramic coatings that's still kind of like amateurish and like maybe you wouldn't trust with your own vehicle or with your clients? Like, is there anything that like jumps out, like red flags from someone that's starting?
I mean, somebody that is just brand new isn't just, they're just like, they could have all the passion and drive in the world, and they could have read everything on the internet known to man, but they just don't have the experience. You know what I mean? Like, there's some guys that I've kind of considered and stuff, but they've been in business for like, 6 months or a year or something. Like, they just don't have enough cars under their belt. They haven't made the mistakes. They haven't like burned the paint. They haven't like use bad coatings and good coatings and seeing what the difference is. They haven't had to like face customers when something doesn't work right, and fix it. And I feel like you guys have kind of got to this point where you've been in business now long enough. You've kind of like made the mistakes. You kind of know what's real and what's not when it comes to coatings. We know there's a lot of hoaxes and a lot of myths and a lot of this mystical, stupid, 10H, 11H, 12H, like infinitely hard, infinitely long lasting coatings that are like not real, and I think you guys see through all that. I've watched a lot of your content. What you guys are telling people is down to earth. You're not promising crazy level of perfection and infinite protection from God knows what, you know what I mean? Because you hear a lot of guys that are new that are just too excited, oh man, if we put this coating on your car, it's gonna last 10 years and you could just park it outside and like it'll just look clean all the time, and nothing will hurt it. And it's, what I mean, you hear that a lot, and I don't think they mean harm, but they're just too excited. They don't really know what's real or what's not. They don't even have the skill to prep the car properly and do a good job in the first place. So making those kind of claims are just insane. I feel like, again, you guys are at the point where you've kind of been there, done that. You've been in business long enough that you know what you're doing. And you guys are out there researching, reading, trying things, trying different coatings, So, yeah.
Still making mistakes and learning, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of the industry, right?
If you're not burning, you're not learning. You know what I mean? That's the,
Hopefully not burning too much, man. I don't think we've had a car Jared burned through his own truck not too long ago. That's a good call.
That's what you got to do. You guys on your own stuff, man, or unsuspecting friends. You know what I mean? Like, oops, burnt through your panel.
Yeah. But when it comes to like PPF, I would imagine, so PPF is a lot stronger than coatings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's actually going to protect against rock chips. It's going to protect against like a lot of scratches. If a grit comes down the road and hits your car, it's probably not going to stop.
I try to tell people, like, if there's something big enough that it's going to hit your car and cause damage, like if it's going to dent your bumper in or something, or break your bumper or whatever.
Adhere.
Yeah, it's not going to stop that. Now
I save the paint.
I have seen stuff hit bumpers and stuff that are bigger, that leave a big giant scuff or something, and it damages the PPF, but we can peel it off and you don't have to get a paint job. Your car doesn't have to go to the collision shop for 3 weeks and blend down the whole side of it. It's just, comes back to my shop. We fixed it in a day or two, out, and no big deal. But yeah, in real life, what you're really protecting against is little rock chips. It will self-heal. If somebody keys your car, it's not going to self-heal against that, but it will protect it. It'll self-heal against minor little swirl marks and stuff. Your car will look pretty much polished all the time because you just don't get all the little defects and stuff. It looks really nice.
So if I get a full body PPF, can I go through the car wash?
My opinion has changed slightly over the years. When I first started doing PPF, I was like, absolutely not. The problem is that there's reality and there's what I wish people would do. It's like if you go to your doctor or your nutritionist and you say, hey, should I eat fried chicken? Like, they're going to tell you, dude, you shouldn't eat fried chicken every day. But like, we know people are going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, if you eat some fried chicken occasionally, it's not going to hurt you. If you go through the automatic car wash occasionally, I don't think it's going to hurt your car. If you do it every week or twice a week, it's going to be pretty hard on your car, Will it damage your paint with PPF on it? Probably not. So there's that. But it might shorten the life of the PPF for sure. I think PPF can easily last 10 years now. But expecting it to last 10 years going through the automatic car wash every day, that might be a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
You get
Just
close.
because it's gonna like peel, or
No, it just, I think it's gonna, it's more impervious to like dulling and discoloring and getting little scratches and stuff in it. But, you know, if you're exposing it to automatic car wash chemicals and brushes every week, it's going to take some abuse. But it's taking the abuse and not your paint, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
if you want to wrap your car, you got some really expensive car, you got a brand new Porsche, and you want to do a full wrap on it, and you're like, screw it, I'm going through the automatic car wash every week. Cool. I mean, do that. And then, you know, 2 years or 3 years from now, if it still looks good, cool, trade it off. They'll be happy that it has PPF on it. But if it looks kind of crappy, peel it off, and you can sell your car or trade it in perfect condition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you haven't abused your car by the automatic car wash. So
what do you think about touchless car washes?
I think they're okay. You know, the problem is that you can either clean your car by mechanical abrasion, which is the whips that you see in the car wash. If you don't have those, you kind of have to make up for it with stronger chemicals. And so I see cars that go through a lot of automatic car washes. The paint starts looking dull and stuff. And again, you can wrap your car and it will stop your paint from getting dull. It'll protect your car, so you can have a peace of mind. But just know, it could. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that, you know, 10, 15 years from now of going through an automatic car wash every week, that it's not gonna have any effect on your PPF. But I think they can hold up pretty well. But
What if I have a ceramic coating and I go through a touchless car wash?
again, my opinions changed a little bit. I think when coatings were first coming out, they weren't as durable, and that would really hurt your coating. Like, I mean, I would see cars, you know, 6 months later, they were pretty dead after going through a lot of automatic car washes, even the touchless ones. As coatings have got better, I think across the board, a lot of the coatings have got better. They're still not this magical elixir. They're not bulletproof. I think they have got a little bit more resistant to car wash chemicals. If you went through an automatic car wash occasionally, again, I don't think it's the end of the world. I wouldn't go through the one with the whips on it if you want your car looking good afterwards. But if you go through an automatic every once in a while, it's like eating fried chicken every once in a while. It's not going to kill you. But I think it's okay. I would not, you know, if it's your baby and it's your weekend driver and, you know, you're going to keep it for 20 years, don't go through the automatic car wash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't do that with a wrapped car with PPF or coating. Just don't do it. But, you know, if it's your daily and you're going to trade it off in 2 years, you know, every once in a while, it won't hurt you.
Yeah. So do you think that someone that maybe in the past they've gone through an automatic car wash all the time, they've gone through it every single day on their way home from work, and they got a new car and they're considering getting a ceramic coating because they've heard great things about it.
Yeah.
And maybe they know, like, I know that the car wash isn't great for my coating, you know, and maybe they don't have the time to do it all the time. They don't have, or to hand wash it all the time.
Yeah.
Do you think that would you still recommend them a ceramic coating, or how would that conversation look if someone called you?
Well, so my answer in 2025 is slightly different than it was then, because the coatings have got better and my philosophy has changed a little bit, because I know people and I know reality. Yeah. Like, some people just are going to go through the automatic car wash. Like my family minivan, it goes through the automatic car wash. I mean, I don't have time to hand wash my minivan. And I get that. I do. I really do. I didn't used to, because, you know, the detailer part of me was like, these people are insane. Why would they go through an automatic car wash? This is stupid. But you know, I have kids. I'm married. I got a family. I know that, like, people are busy. They don't have time to always hand wash their car. If you can, obviously, it's ideal. Your coating is going to last a lot longer. Here's my thing. If you're gonna do nothing because somebody told you that your ceramic coating's life is gonna be hurt by the automatic car wash, doing nothing isn't better. Like, if you don't put any protection on your car and you go through the automatic car wash for 2 years, that's gonna be pretty hard on your car. You know, you have no protection. It's gonna fade your paint. It's just gonna screw it up. You know, all your trim is exposed. Your trim can fade and all that. If you put a ceramic coating in your car, go through the automatic car wash, it's better than nothing. Will it last forever? No. It'll shorten the life of the coating a little bit. I think though that it is better than doing nothing, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's your philosophy, but
I've gone back and forth on it, and I mean, we're still learning. And like you said, as the products get better, like it's a lot of testing on vehicles that we see. It's just like with the healthcare industry, man. I mean, that's what you're stepping into, and everything is constantly monitored. It's like, well, we probably know that vapes aren't good for you, but like, how bad are they? Like, we can't quantify it yet because they're still so new. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's a million things like that. Energy drinks and some of these, like, there's all kinds of things. But so I usually tell people, like, now with where we're at, and it's changed again over the years as we learn more and more. It's like I usually tell people, like, I don't know, knowing what I know now, which has changed, I don't know if it makes sense to spend the money on a coating. If you do go through it frequently, it might make more sense though to have a really good wax done every quarter or 6 months.
If they have money to blow, do it. Like if you're like, this isn't a lot of money for me to get this coating, do it. It's better than nothing. It is a little bit better than a wax. If you're kind of stretching the budget a little bit because you want some good protection on your car, that's maybe where you want to weigh the pros and cons. Like you said, maybe it's better that we do a light polish right now and put a wax or a sealant on it, go through the car wash for a year or two, and then come back to me, and we'll do another light polish on it. We'll fix a little bit of that damage that was caused from the car wash. We'll reseal it, and you'll save a little bit of money doing it that way. You could. But if you have the money to blow, and it's not going to be a stretch to spend the extra money on the coating, you do it up front, But is it ideal? No, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, you should go through the automatic car wash every week. It's fine. It won't hurt anything. That's not true either. But you got to weigh pros and cons, weigh reality versus, what I would like people to do. But
when it comes to setting expectations for PPF, like it's a film. It's like window tint. And we've gotten into that this year, and we've realized that, this is an imperfect business.
It is.
Because we have hairs on our heads, and there's dust, and your car has dust in the seals. There's going to be some level of contamination. We try to keep it as minimal as possible.
Yes.
But like to say there's zero would be a lie.
Zero is completely dishonest. Whether it's for tint or PPF, anybody that's saying they're doing a perfect tint job or a perfect PPF job is lying, hands down. Also, anybody that says that they're never cutting on your car is another red flag. They're lying, hands down. They're lying to you. They just need to be like debunked immediately. I've had people come to me and they're like, do you do pattern installs? And I'm like, the first thing I want to ask them is, why are you asking me that? The answer is yes and no at the same time, but I feel like you're asking me that because you assume that if I do a pattern install, I'm not cutting on the paint. That's not true. That's just not true. That's why you have to be very good with a knife. And then the other one is somebody that comes to me and they say, is it going to be 100% perfect? And is there not even going to be like one little dust speck in it anywhere? And I can't say honestly that that's true. Like, I can get really close. And I feel like the thing that distinguishes like a really bad PPF installer and a really good PPF installer is that they try to minimize it. Like they are going to get it 99.9%. And then the 0.1% or whatever that you just can't attain, like you just are never going to get to 100%. They are just honest with the customer. Like, hey, look, man, like on a really difficult curvy panel where we've had to stretch the living crap out of the PPF to make it fit that panel, you might at a certain angle, if you stand on your hands and it's 5 o'clock in the evening, see a slight imperfection in the film there. But if you're just standing there looking at your car, it's going to look perfect, But if, again, like it is, on the bottom edge of your rocker panel, are we never going to have like a tiny little dust speck? Probably we're going to occasionally, And what I tell customers is they ask me to redo it is, yes, I can redo it, but we might have another speck on this end of the rocker panel this time. You know what I mean? Like and what I won't do is lay a rocker panel or like a hood and leave a freaking big piece of dirt right in the middle of it. Like, if I can stand back a couple feet and see the thing right in the middle of the hood, that's just stupid. You got to get that thing out of there. Yeah. And there are ways to get it out and move on and keep doing the job. But the lazy installers, what they'll do is say, well, no PPF job's perfect, so this giant piece of dirt right in the middle of the hood is just part of the install. And they try to convince the customer of that. And that's not true either. Like, oh, no, I'm not going to leave a giant piece of dirt right in the middle of the door, right in the middle of the hood or something. Something that's obvious. If I can stand, you know, a few feet away from the car and still see it, that's a problem. Now, if I've got to crawl on the floor and get 6 inches away with a magnifying glass, and then the customer, you know, the customer's like, oh, I can see that. Now that's just crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just, you know, if you want to, you know, the same philosophy is true about paint jobs. You know, I could take a brand new car and I could point out 20 defects in a brand new car on a paint job. So there's just no such thing as perfection. You can find dirt nibs and runs and stuff in brand new cars. And I'm not talking about Fords and Chevys and stuff. I'm talking about Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Aston Martin. All these cars have paint defects. So just get the perfection thing out of the way. It's not real, you know. But again, a good installer will minimize that, and they will know how to use a knife. They'll know how to minimize the contamination, which is what we're going to talk about a lot during the next few months in training and stuff. And it will look amazing, you know. When you walk up to it, it'll look clean. We'll have very minimal exposed edges. We minimize the amount of cutting that we do on cars by optimizing and adjusting patterns in our software. There's a lot of things that you can do to position yourself to where you're a very good installer. But again, what you don't want to be is a dishonest one. It's like, yeah, man, we'll fully wrap your car and it'll be 100% perfect and every single edge is going to wrap and we never cut on your car. That's crazy. But I hear it all the time though. It's really common, which is insane.
This is sad. Does modern PPF, like, in 2025, does the PPF today, does it yellow? Does it bubble? Does it peel?
Bubbling after you do an install is normal. You try to minimize it, but you're going to have a couple. That's normal. And there's a way to get those out because it's no damage to anything. I always tell customers, hey, I'm going to have you come back a few days later or a week later. We're going to do a follow-up. Bubbles are not a problem. They're like the last thing on my mind. I don't care about bubbles. They're easy to fix. The lazy ones, again, will tell you, oh, there's no bubbles. And then they have bubbles and they don't do a follow-up, you know, appointment with the customer. The customer leaves and they're mad 6 months later because they still got a few bubbles in their PPF. We address that up front. We're honest with people and we fix it. It's not a big deal. It's a normal part of an install. The yellowing thing used to be a really big problem. There was a couple brands out there, maybe up until like 2010 or maybe even as late as like 2015, they were really yellowing. And it was an older type of material. The adhesives were a lot different and they would really yellow, especially if you left them on more than 5 or 10 years. And not only would they yellow, but they would crack and they would come off in 1,000 pieces and they would leave all the glue. And it was a nightmare for everybody. It was a nightmare for the customer. It was a nightmare for the installer because it was hard to fix. I haven't seen that anymore. That has slowly tapered off. And I'm just not getting cars coming in that say, hey, my PPF's been on here for 5 or 10 years and it's super yellow and it's cracking, and then I bring it in and it comes off in 1,000 pieces. I'm just not, I'm not saying it can't happen in the right circumstance. You know, a car sits out 24/7 in freaking Texas and the PPF gets just toasted. Like maybe that's a possibility, but here in Missouri, I'm not seeing it, you know? Now, again, does PPF not discolor at all? You know, I don't see it in the like 5-10 year mark, but if you leave, you know, I tell people to start watching their car. If it sits out a lot, 8, 9, 10 years down the road, you need to start watching it. Make sure it's not discoloring at all. It's gonna take a beating. It's literally there to protect your car. It's gonna, all the environment, the rain, the chemicals on the roads, oil, brake dust, like it's going to eventually degrade the material, as your paint would have been degraded if you didn't put it on there. So eventually it's going to take a beating, but is it going to yellow like it did back in 2001 or 2010, where it's like obvious from 30 feet away that like half your car is yellow and half of it's not? No, I'm not seeing it. Like,
What about peeling?
peeling is an installer error. That's not the material error. If you have a good PPF that has good adhesive, it shouldn't peel, unless somebody's being extremely negligent and just taking a 3,000 psi pressure washer and putting it right on the edge of a panel or something. I've seen it happen from people that just didn't know what they were doing, washing their car with a tip 2 inches away from a panel and blasting their PPF off a handful of times. But peeling, if it peels, that's on you. I've had it happen a few times over the years where a customer calls and said, hey, an edge lifted. 99% of the time I have them come in. If the car's still clean enough, I can fix it. I'll fix it right away, and it usually won't ever be a problem again. If it peels up, 3 inches into the panel and it's got dirt under it, just own up to it. Peel it off, redo it. The customer would be happy. You'll have a lifelong customer. You've done the right thing. It's not that big a deal to fix something.
Could touchless car washes or automatic brush car washes cause a car to peel?
I had it happen one time since 2017. It was on I believe it was a Jaguar F-Type. He went through an automatic car wash. Now the film was pretty new, if I remember right. It had only been on there a few weeks or something, and the automatic, jet or whatever hit just right, blasted the panel off. I just redid it, because it's so rare. Like, I tell people, it's not ideal to go through an automatic car wash. Can they cause damage? Yeah, I've seen freaking mirrors get ripped off and antennas and all kinds of crazy stuff from automatic car washes. So can it mess up your PPF? Yes. Is it happening all the time? No. I mean, literally one time I saw it happen. So,
Okay.
Don't do the automatic car wash if it's your baby. If this is your life, your car you're going to keep forever, and you want to hand wash it, and then you just get lazy one week and you're like, I'll take it to the automatic car wash. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but
What are the top 3 cars you've ever worked on?
oh man. My favorite one, I worked on a Ferrari F40. I did about
Cost.
It was about $1 million, $1.5 million, but that's been quite a few years. I think they're worth quite a bit more than that now.
Was it a full body PPF?
I didn't do PPF on it. There was a time when I was kind of like right before PPF that I was also doing very high-end detailing, like Concours level, like where I was putting the car up on the lift, the wheels were coming off, we were doing full underbody, we pulled the seats out of that car, we polished all the interior carbon fiber. We went through the entire engine bay with a steamer. I mean, the engine bay alone took us like a day or two. We polished out all the Lexan, because it's got a see-through Lexan kind of engine cover, and that was all polished out with a little mini polisher. That car had, I don't even know, 60, 80 hours into it, something like that.
What'd you charge?
Yeah, probably not enough. I don't remember. Probably not enough, to be honest. That's the best I can say.
Yeah.
To be honest about it.
It's so tough, man, because like when you're passionate about something, or even if let's not even say that you're passionate about detailing quite as much as you're passionate about making the customer happy, and like you're passionate about the experience that you're giving to your customer, which we are very much that way. And I think that we share that in common, but you have to balance that with being like realistic. Cause like I tell everyone, like I could spend all week on your car. I could find things that you didn't even know to do on it, and then you'll probably never notice it. But I would have to charge you. In order for me to do this for a living, I would have to charge you a price that you're not going to want to pay. And so we have to find this middle ground.
Yeah. There's a line that you have to find as a professional detailer. Whereas, if you were doing it on your own car and it was a hobby of yours, you could sit there and put your car up on the lift and polish out some fine scratches on the underside of your rocker, like as a professional detailer, sometimes, you know, if the client isn't willing to have an infinite budget, that you have to draw a line somewhere, you know, because it's tough, man. Yeah, you could spend forever on some cars, literally. You could literally take a car and detail it for weeks and just never be done.
Yeah.
You know, and it's fun, but yeah, you'll be broke.
So the Ferrari was one. What's your second one?
I worked on a Porsche. I hope I don't get this right. I think it's a 959. Is that right? I think it's a 959. It was about $1 million or $2 million car. I think they've got a lot more valuable since then. At the time, there was only like 40 of them in the United States. They weren't road legal, and I think they've since become road legal, which got people to start importing them more. But yeah, that was a really interesting car. That car is from the same era as the F40, and it was kind of the main competitor.
What'd you do to it?
Same thing, full-blown wheels off detail, interior. Probably didn't charge enough.
Were these Springfield customers or?
Yeah, when I first started getting going, I made some pretty good connections early on and got known because high-end detailing wasn't really a thing, you know, prior to like maybe 2008 or 10. There was some random guys out there kind of doing some high-end detailing for exotic car dealerships and stuff, but it wasn't a thing. And so I kind of started offering paint corrections and stuff and wheels off detailing, and that was a big deal because you couldn't really get it before. And so people started reaching out to me, and I made some contacts with there's actually some exotic car dealerships here in Springfield, which is weird because we're a pretty small town, but we're kind of centrally located in the U.S. So they position themselves here so they can ship cars all over the place. So I made some connections there, and because of that, you know, I'm not one of these guys like that are on the coast that are working on Paganis and stuff all day, but I have worked on some really impressive cars because of the exotic guys that are here. They've sent me some pretty crazy stuff, Lambos and Ferraris and all that stuff. You know, I'm pretty privileged to have worked on it. It was pretty cool.
So the Porsche was number 2. What's number 3?
Oh God. There's a lot of cars that I can think of that might not have been real expensive that I just liked. Any kind of vintage Porsche, I've worked on all of them. All the air-cooled cars, all the Ferraris, Testarossas, and all that I've worked on. Lamborghini Countachs and Murcielagos and all that. I've worked on all those. Diablos. Diablo's another one that's got pretty expensive. I worked on a few of those. What else? Modern car wise, in 2021 or 22, we worked on 3 Lamborghini Aventador SVJs, which they've become they're like $1.5 million now or something, you know, which is bizarre. Those are pretty cool for a modern car.
Was it a concierge detail as well, or?
Yeah, no, I think we did. That was in the PPF period, so we were doing full bodies on those, and we pulled the wheels off and did. Those are center lock wheels, so that whole thing, polished the inner barrel of the wheels and the calipers, coated all that. Really, like that. Yeah, that was pretty. We did a lot on those cars. Yeah, I did make money on those cars. That's when I got smarter. But yeah, back in the day of high-end detailing, I was making a living, but I wasn't doing the paint protection film and stuff.
How long does a Ferrari take, and what do you have to charge for, or the Lamborghini?
Like a Lamborghini?
To do a full body.
Yeah, so that's interesting, right? So let's say somebody brings me, this is kind of off, I kind of have to do this convoluted story to explain this. So like, let's say somebody calls me with a Tesla Model S, right? There's like 20 pieces on that whole car. Maybe not even that, right? Maybe 15, I don't know. Like some doors and a hood and some fenders and some bumpers. That's the whole car. There's nothing to it. And the trim pops off real easy. You can actually get a really nice edgeless wrap on a Tesla, and it'll look pretty convincing. You cannot tell that to the guy that owns the Lamborghini Aventador that you're going to get 100% edgeless wrap, and it's going to be the same price as a Model S Tesla, because a Lamborghini Aventador has like 150 pieces on it. Wow. You know, so like you have to really kind of know that when you're quoting cars. Of Tesla Model S, you could do a full body wrap in a couple days on that, where an Aventador You know, if you put a couple guys on that, it might literally take an entire week. You know, by the time you prep the car and take a couple things apart and wrap it and then do all your final trimming and getting all everything out, you might literally have that car an entire week, you know. And a lot of material. Like, there's just a lot of surface area. It's convoluted. It's got a lot of little pieces. It's going to eat up at least an entire roll of paint protection film, maybe more, you know. It looks not very big, right? Because it's not much bigger than like a Tesla, but there's way more surface area. Another tricky car that doesn't cost as much as a Lamborghini is the new C8 Corvettes. A lot of guys come to me and they don't really want to, you know, they think, oh, you're just charging me the Corvette tax. How come it's not, how come you charge me more than a guy with a BMW or a Tesla? Well, because it takes, you know, there's 100+ pieces on a C8 Corvette, you know. Just the bumper alone has like 10 or 15 pieces to it. So you gotta factor that in. And it takes a long time. It takes a lot of precision and all that. So
Where do you think that like, fast forward like 5 years from now, I mean, what do you think that the industry will look like? What do you think is going to set apart like the top detailing shops from the rest?
I mean, just hands down, the ones that, just for one, the ones that are going to last and be the top shops are the ones that are just being honest and ethical and telling customers, you know, the reality of things, and, you know, not just trying to be cheap and being excited and telling people things are going to be perfect. Those are the guys that are going to be the top dogs, for one. But then also, like you said, I think you alluded to this earlier, the industry is changing. Like, I mean, every SEMA, it's like, oh my God, there's like a million different new products and everything's changing. And now there's like, I mean, color paint protection film, you know, like 3 years ago, we had like black film. That was it. That was like a big deal. And there was like a million colors, you know? And I remember saying, oh, this is stupid. Nobody's going to do this. Well, I was wrong, because like color paint protection film is going to be a very big deal. You know, I don't have a crystal ball, but maybe not 5 years from now, but definitely 10 years from now, I think there's a high likelihood that wrapping may overtake paint. I really think that there's a strong possibility for that. I could be wrong, but I think as paint and the materials for paint and the amount of pollution that paint causes, and, you know, just EPA standards and all this stuff, I think that PPF is gonna, the even clear PPF is gonna become more important to try to make paint jobs last longer and cars last longer. And I also think color paint protection film might become a big deal. People are doing it right now, though. Like, I just never thought that people were gonna wrap their car in color paint protection film, but I've done a few at my shop, and I never thought I would be able to sell that. But
Other than colored PPF, is there anything that stands out? Like,
with color PPF?
no, anything other than color?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, you're gonna have to keep your eyes on sprayable PPF. I'm not sure about it yet. I'm still like kind of saying I don't think that's gonna become a thing. But I just watched a video where a company at SEMA just won a big award for new companies at SEMA offering a sprayable like colored PPF. And I don't remember if they had it clear or not, but it's something to keep an eye on. And, you know, you don't want to just be like, that's stupid, because if it becomes a thing, you're gonna need to get into that.
Yeah.
I think coatings are gonna get better. I think they already have. I think coatings now versus 8 or 10 years ago are way better. We were talking about that. I think they're already more impervious to car wash chemicals and all that. They're getting better against water spots. There's some hydrophilic coatings, we were talking about that earlier, coming out that actually don't bead water. They actually create a flat water surface that sheets off your paint. And that can be good for people whose cars sit outside a lot, to try to purposely prevent beading so they don't get water spots.
And then like the D-quartz coatings, Carpro, that is like super hard.
They're so I mean, that's something they've done, and there's other coatings coming out where they're testing different nano particles. So most coatings have, you know, there's different dilutions of this and that, and there's different chemistry, but in general, most coatings are silica based. They have nano glass particles in them. Silica is just another fancy word for glass. They're very, very, very small, almost microscopic particles, and you add some carriers to that and it creates a really pretty good protection on your paint. Well, now like CarPro's been, testing with diamond. It sounds ridiculous, but they're just using nano diamond particles. Diamonds are made in labs and stuff nowadays, so it's not the fancy diamonds that you're getting on your diamond ring, but that's something they've been experimenting with. I think they've got some good products. I've been using D-Quartz and it's durable, Is it PPF? No, but it's more durable than the coatings before, And across a lot of brands, like I think you guys use Modesto, right?
Yeah.
They've got one of the hydrophilic coatings. I think they've got some really durable products. When it comes to brands, pick one you like, be honest about it, be ethical, and but you guys are gonna have to stay in touch going into the future with it's like every few months something's changing.
Yeah.
The machines are getting better, the compounds are getting better. And then also, as everything changes, the cars are changing too, and the paints are different. I remember when waterborne paint came out, and I was like, this is stupid. This isn't going to be a thing. Well, now, like, half the cars have waterborne, base coats on them, which affects the clear coat hardness and all that. And so you always have to be, like, on top of, like, how are cars being painted? What are they being painted with? You just have to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're always seeing new stuff, man.
Oh, dude.
Some cars are so hard to work on, like polishing, like the paint's so soft. Like that Bentley that Austin was working on.
Yep.
That like just could not finish it out. And like from like the naked eye, most people couldn't tell. They would probably think, oh, that looks amazing.
Again, that's another one of those things where you can't promise perfection. You have to say, look, man, we're going to do the absolute best we can with all of our years of experience and the products that we have, and we're going to get it better than everybody else. But is it going to be perfect? No, absolutely not. And yeah, there's some cars out there, some black Bentleys, black Porsches. I mean, that, every year there's some car that's like the trouble car, It used to be like mid 2000s was like these black Subarus. They were impossible to polish. They had sticky, just nasty paint. It was super soft, and there's always something new. I'm trying to think of one, right now, like GM black, when that came out, like everybody's got it figured out now. But when GM came out with that new black and whatever clear coat they're using, it was like trying to polish plastic. Right?
Oh man,
it was impossible. It was like hard to cut, but then finished like a soft paint. It was terrible. But yeah, everybody's kind of got it figured out now. But yeah, there's always something.
Well, we've been going long enough, so we're probably gonna end it there. But
it sounds like we got a motorcycle outside too.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure that the camera can pick that up,
or something, or a car. Is it
Camaro
and or something? There you go.
But dude, thank you again for just trusting us with your customers, and I'm really looking forward to just learning tech film and working with Zach and being able to work with you for like the next year or so.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Excited, man. So
yeah,
I really appreciate it, and looking forward to it. So
cool, man.
But I think it's really important too that you're just gonna be riding along. And I know you're gonna be busy with work too. So but
we'll work it all out.
Yeah.
Excited. You'll be in here. I'll be here a little bit, probably every week or so, and make sure you guys aren't just screwing everything up.
I think we'll be trusting Zach with a lot of those things.
Yeah, Zach will be good, man. So he's a great guy. Yeah. He kind of knows all the ways I like to do things, and yeah, he'll be able to help you out.
Yeah.
So
all right. Well, cool. Well, thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, man.